What up guys, it is Justice here and welcome to a new Runescape video. Legendary pets can now take on the life points of the original familiar you have overridden. For example, when using a yak pouch on your legendary pet, it will now allow you to use it as a beast of burden pet and its life points will become 10,600. That is the main difference here. It now officially has life points. Rip legendary pets then? No, not necessarily. First off, the two most important boss fights this affects in RS3 are Araxor and Raids in terms of Yakimaru. With Araxor, it really depends on how good you are at predicting Araxor's attacks and thus activate Anticipate or Freedom at the right time. It's also dependent on how fast you can kill Araxor and so how good your DPS rotations are. It does make range a more favourable option for many, a preferred class over melee, as you can dodge Araxor's cleave attacks fairly easily as you are out of range and will not be dragged in when using Anticipate or Freedom. Now with Yakimaru, it currently only impacts the stun pool, whereby if you activate AoE abilities such as Chain for magic and Ricochet for range, your familiar aka legendary pet will be damaged. But if you don't use AoE abilities, your legendary pet will be fine. So I thought I'd share this little tip with you all for anyone who is potentially worried now about legendary pets or just had the wrong idea. They are still great to have, considering you can add 2 yak pouches to them and so you don't have to constantly remember to renew your yak. They can also repair 1 item per hour, which I can tell you right now has saved me in a lot of different cases, and a lot of people who I've been raiding with over the past week, it's saved them a lot of trouble having to teleport out. For example, having to just repair, let's say, a broken Nox longbow or maybe a broken seismic wand. And they can also be great for scavenging when you're on a slayer task. Is the legendary pet actually worth purchasing in terms of bonds, let's say, or IRL money? The IRL money wise, that is completely up to you. All depends on how much money you earn, let's say, in real life. That's going to be your personal choice. But in terms of the actual game itself, in terms of bonds and purchasing bonds with in-game GP, is it worth it? That is also dependent on how large your bank is in the game. I personally got mine free a good couple of years ago when I bought the gold membership package as a member. But in terms of actual bonds and purchasing legendary pets, I still feel it potentially is worth it. It's going to save you a lot of hassle in the long run. In the short term, it might be around 35 mil or so, and so it doesn't sound cheap. But in the long run, it will save you a lot of hassle. It'll help you in those situations, those dire situations when you need to repair your weapon in a boss fight, or potentially it will just help you out a lot in terms of maybe you forgot to renew your yak, but it's okay because you've got another 60 minutes left on it. And then other cases such as Slayer, I can assure you right now, it was so useful for me when I was grinding out Slayer tasks for the Ironworth title for a comp cape. It was so useful for me, and also doing all the Rune Dragon tasks, how it picks up those items for you, it is extremely useful. For me personally, I've been able to use the overrideable ability with the legendary pet for a while now without my yak being damaged. And so let's say people who are learning Araxor now, they may have a tougher time than those who learnt it previous to this update. It was always very strange to me how all of a sudden your yak couldn't be damaged, and I feel like all this time it has been a glitch or a bug, and I strongly feel if it was a glitch or a bug, then the facility should have just been taken out of the game as soon as this overrideable effect was implemented, until the state of which it is now at least. But we're all playing an MMO, and changes like this happen all the time, which we just have to expect because it's a dynamic game. It was always OP, and now it's finally balanced. There is a spell that you can use which is part of the Lunar spellbook. It is called Spiritualize Food. When you cast this on a piece of food, this spell enchants the food to be usable on a summoning familiar. When a familiar eats this food, its life points are restored, its combat stats are boosted, and its duration timer is replenished. An even easier way though than going through all that hassle is that when you renew your yak, whilst it's active as a legendary pet, it will renew its life points as well. And when recharging summoning points at an obelisk, that will also renew the familiar's life points. And that just about wraps it up for today. Feel free to thumbs up this video, and if you are a new viewer, feel free to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.